Welcome back to Chamber Exchange. We want to thank our sponsor, Bank Hometown, that makes this TV show happen. I'm really pleased to have with us in this segment Jon Weaver, who's the president of Mass Biomedical Initiatives. Jon, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Tim.
So, Jon, maybe you could just, and we got a lot to pack in this segment, but maybe you could just tell our viewers what MBI is, and then I want to ask you about kind of the state of life sciences, the biotech, as it relates to the cluster here in Central Mass.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. And again, it's great to be back at the Chamber because this is really where MBI started. MBI was formed in 1985 as an offshoot of the Chamber to really look at how does the city of Worcester capitalize on the siting of the UMass Medical School that had been placed here recently. So MBI was formed, helped develop the biotech park in Worcester, and then really started working on incubating early stage life science companies. And that's really been the main part of our mission for the last 35 years.
Statewide organization, but housed here in Worcester and focused in terms of the Central Mass area as a launch pad.
Absolutely.
Both for Central Mass and the state.
Yep, and today we're home to 58 early stage companies and 4 sites across the city of Worcester. We advocate for the industry across the Commonwealth and really within the Massachusetts Biotechnology Cluster, which is the greatest in the world. And Worcester plays a really important role in that cluster, and as I'm sure we'll talk about, an even more growing role.
And you know, Mass Bio is kind of the trade organization that advocates on behalf of the life sciences industry, and they recently kind of came out with a snapshot. And you know, as you and I have done in our roles, it's to kind of remind and prod people at different levels that yes, Boston and Cambridge is extremely important, but the cluster we have out here is a big part of the Massachusetts success story, and that needs ongoing attention, focus, and resources. Maybe you could kind of, in a much better detail than I can, kind of, what does that snapshot say about where we are and the opportunities in front of us?
Sure. Well, I think Worcester has to play, and really all of the areas outside Boston and Cambridge are going to have to play an important role in the growth of the cluster. If you look at our biggest competition, as was outlined in that report, it's states like California and North Carolina that have much bigger land areas than the state of Massachusetts. So, so it's really incredible that the amount of funding that's been received in Massachusetts has done that in such a small, concentrated area. It's part of what makes it special. But for the industry to continue to grow and be sustainable and not have rents eclipse $150 or $200 a foot for biotech companies in Boston or Cambridge, we're going to have to really look at how do we use all of the assets of the Commonwealth. And I think Worcester has a really important value proposition in that. So here in the city, we have great colleges and universities, the medical school, WPIs that offer core equipment, which our startup companies can utilize. And we're seeing that now with basically all of the life science space in the city is now full. Right. In fact, in a little bit, we're going to visit one of our graduate companies that just moved into some of that last available space. So.
Right, and you mentioned the UMass medical school, then the UMass Science Park, essentially full. AbbVie, a larger company, kind of bursting at the seams that they've outgrown not only their footprint but are taking up space, some space in the science park, and then so we've seen the success of some of the large company, and then populate some other ones. But you're really kind of growing that next level, incubating that next level of companies. And you guys have had some recent remarkable success that I think underscores that the strategy here of both yes, we want to bring in those larger companies, but we also want to focus on incubating those smaller ones and growing them, and it all feeds off each other.
Yeah, so Worcester has arrived, and the word is out. So MBI opened up a new site in August of 2020, middle of the pandemic, that more than doubled our total capacity to support early stage companies. Working with the Board of Trustees, we had prepared them to say, look, it might take us 2-3 years to fill this space up.
And how many square feet was the
It's
expansion?
about 25,000 square feet, which is a big endeavor for us that really more than doubled the amount of space. For 100, 200 square foot companies, it's a big deal. And we filled that space.
So 25,000 square feet, but filling it up 100, 200,000 square feet at a time as these kind of early companies start.
Yeah, so we're filling up a 25,000 square foot building, a closet at a time is the way you look at it. These companies come into the incubator, they literally take a room that's maybe the size of somebody's walk-in closet at home, and that's where they start their biotech. So it takes a lot of little companies to be able to fill that whole pie up. But we did it in 10 months, which is well ahead of the time we scheduled, and we're actually already talking about expanding again. Because we see that the demand is here, and we want to make sure that we're playing a role and kind of try to lead the growth and lead the expansion of the biotech industry in Worcester.
And there's usually kind of, I don't know, you correct me if I'm wrong, but there's 3 ways that these companies go. They grow and scale over time, as their science and things hopefully are validated. In some cases, things don't work out, but sometimes as they grow and expand, they get bought out by larger companies. And larger companies oftentimes want to be around this research, this talent of employees. So it's not an either or. To really have a robust life sciences biotech cluster, you want companies with the larger ones, but also you want to be organically supporting and growing the smaller ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can give you an example of both. So, a company that started at MBI in one small lab about a year and a half ago, with a small amount of money, a $250,000 seed fund that they got from the state of Massachusetts called Ivexol. This company grew throughout the MBI system, went from that one small lab to having about 4 or 5 small labs, and just recently closed a Series A round, about $13 million, is now building out a 25,000 square foot space, and is going to continue to grow here in the Commonwealth.
For our viewers who might know what a Series A round is.
So Series A round is really like a company's first major venture fundraising round. So
people invest in the company.
Yep, exactly. So, and then on the other side of acquisition, which is an important way of scaling companies as well, we have a company, Blue Sky Biotech, started by a great entrepreneur in the area called Paul Wengander.
Who now owns Greater Good
Imperial Brewing. Yeah, he switched to a much funner type of chemistry. Yeah. But Paul founded this company, similar story. Small lab at MBI, grew that company up over time. He was then acquired by a group called Lake Pharma, and you'd see their sign on the side of the building in Gateway Park. And just this week, it was actually, they were being acquired again by a group called Curia. And that's going to help them grow to really have a national and international presence. And Worcester's an important role in that story.
Right. And so, your experience and what you've seen, kind of validates something that MBI, the Chamber, WBDC, the city, as we're talking to developers, how we really need more space, right? I mean, Craig Blaze in the WBDC has, working with your support, the Chamber, the city, on building the reactor, biomanufacturing. We're already seeing construction, and I think, all cautiously optimistic that will fill up very quick. So as we're talking to private developers, we're saying, build space here, build on spec, right? Because the story validates, and as these companies, smallest companies grow and scale, they need space that's ready to go. And what we're seeing from this report that came out from MassBio, big companies, as they grow and expand, need space right away.
Yeah, nothing drives me crazier than having companies that want to be here and not having a place to put them. So if there's developers that are out there, we'd love to talk to you. We'd love to engage you, tell you why Worcester is such a great place to build. And also, I think that team that's developed here in the city of Worcester, and the fact that we all get along and collaborate so well, is a big part of why it's easy to do those projects here and why you should want to do them here. Worcester's having some good success. The Mass Bio Industry snapshot predicted 40,000 new jobs will be needed by 2024 to support the growth that they see in the industry. And Worcester in biomanufacturing had the highest growth rate of any county in the state, at about almost 8% growth in biomanufacturing. So Worcester's playing an important role in this, and we need to create the supply and the space to allow us to continue that success.
Jon Weaver, president of Mass Biomedical Initiatives. If people want to see what the space looks like, go on to Chamber Facebook Live. There was recently a 360 pivot video tour. So thanks for being with us. And we're going to come back for our final segment to talk about Worcester Regional Airport and flights coming back.
Since 1889, Bank Hometown has stepped up to bat for our neighbors. In the past 5 years, we've donated $1.3 million to local organizations that help enrich lives and bring people together. And we're not stopping there. We're always looking to tackle the challenges of today and fuel the leaders of tomorrow. No matter how life changes over the years, we'll continue to show up for our neighbors, for our communities, and for you. Bank Hometown. Unlock your potential.
Just watch me now. Just watch me. Just watch me now. Just watch me. Just watch me now. Just watch me. Just watch me now. It's so good. Got me up on this feeling. It's so good. How you line me now. On the top, looking down. Got me on higher ground.
This is Radio Worcester. Local talk, local news, local events. We got it, and we've got opinions that you're going to want to hear.
That Worcester will be thought of and spoken about.
We're live every morning, 6 to 10 a.m., and if you can't catch us then, you can find us online day and night at RadioWorcester.com. This is your town. This is your morning show. Talk of the Commonwealth with Hank and Ben.